All right, guys, Shotty T here. Got another video going. Make sure you check out the one that I posted not too long ago regarding the day 6 walkthrough. I realized that was a long clip, so you can click around if you like. But like I said, there's some useful stuff in there. I think I'm gonna do another one. Obviously, it won't be that long. I think I'm gonna do day 0, which is Sunday. I want to make sure that everyone has the stage set for how they should start the week. So that way you can kind of get a walkthrough of what I'm doing on a Sunday. And obviously it won't be any war action, so it shouldn't be like an hour worth of footage. The main thing I'm gonna cover is, of course, you're gonna either have the Doomsday event or the Rampage boss. I think this week for us it'll be the Rampage boss, and then on top of that you'll have the breakthrough, the frontline breakthrough thing. I usually don't do too well on that. I just do my attempts just to get the rewards. I don't care about the ranking uh, part of the aspect. And then the farming leading up to day 1. And of course the arms race stuff and the secret task hunting. So that's pretty much the gist of it. But again, I want to make sure that people understand that in order to have a good versus week, you have to set the foundation, and it starts on that Sunday. So, but right now we're just gonna wait for this treasure dig to complete before I get into the main theme of this video. So it just happened to be a dig that just happened to start the minute I started recording. So don't want to miss these digs. We just had 2 of these not too long ago, and I caught both of those. So we're gonna make sure we get this one too. And they've all been resources. So I'm 3 for 3 today, at least in the last 30 minutes. All right. So what we're going to talk about today are, we're going to revisit the heroes, because this is day 4. By the time this video posts, you guys will be in day 4 versus, which will be hero day. It's everyone's favorite day of the week. And one of the things I haven't done in a while are the champion rankings. So, because obviously the deeper you go into the game, you get exclusive weapons that get introduced to the game, and that kind of adjusts the tiers of the certain champs. Like some champs that used to be complete trash, with their exclusive weapon, they're much better now. So rather than doing it on all the heroes, I'm gonna go by class today in this video. So the first thing we're going to start off is with the tank class. So we're going to revisit the tank class today. Keep in mind, I do realize that many of you guys are in different timelines. Some of you guys still have a purple Mason, a purple Violet, and a purple Scarlet. And I'm going to make sure I cover all of that stuff in this video. So as you guys recall, there are 3 different classes of heroes in the game. You have your aircraft, you have your missile, and you have your tank. As you can see, tank is the most prominent class. It has the most heroes. When you first start the game, that's the more common heroes that you have. And even if you go to the timeline of the game, the tank heroes come the soonest. So let's revisit the timeline. Right now we're on season 3, day 101 in my timeline. But let's just chronicle this here. So first start the game, everyone gets Murphy. So Murphy is kind of like the Captain America, the first Avenger type hero in the game, like 5-star general type guy. So everyone has that. So that's the standard. He's kind of like good place to start. And you have the first lady of Last War, which is Kimberly. Still personally my favorite hero in the game. And it's good that you get someone so early in the game. I think when I first got her, she was 99 cents. So yeah, that was like $1. I said, okay, I'll get it. I mean, she might be free now, and obviously you can get her in the ticket store for free. So it was that was the first of many purchases that I ended up doing on this this game, but the YouTube dividends starting to get some of that money back, but it's still got a little bit ways to go. All right, so but as the game continued, you had more heroes coming to the game. We're not going to focus on the aircraft ones, but you had a couple of missiles that came in. But then the next tank that entered the field about 3 weeks in was Marshall. I remember when he came into the game, it was such a big deal because he was like a supporting hero. He's kind of like the synergy hero. He makes your overall squad better. Like I've used him on every wanted boss monster, so we're gonna talk more about his ability shortly. And then you had the best defender in the game. Still, he doesn't even have a he doesn't even have a exclusive weapon, and he's still the best defender in the game, and that's Williams. So he's about a month in the game is when he comes about, but it's kind of hard to get him, especially early on. A lot of these heroes that come in, you have to buy them initially, and eventually they come into the store where you can get them for $4.99. In this store here, the daily sale, you have to go here. And I mean, this exclusive weapon shard is not there initially, but the hero shards are. So pretty much every hero that as they come into the game eventually comes here, we can just get them for $5. So, and then if you get them for the first time, it'll unlock another set of deals where you can get more shards of more versions of them if you want to get them 3 stars sooner. But those are completely optional. Like if you just want to get the hero and then just use your generic shards from there, like these generic shards, then you can level them up. So I remember that, and then the one that was the most sought after hero that was had a lot of excitement and anticipation to come into the game was this guy here, Stedman, day 57. Like when he came in, that was like the first hero that I have to buy this, and not just buy one version. I have to buy him up to 3 stars. So I got the $4.99, I got the $9.99, and I got the $19.99. I didn't go any higher than that though, because after that it's like $49.99 and $99.99. I didn't go that crazy. So, but I definitely got the first 3 uh, purchase gates for him after I got him, so I can immediately get him to 3 stars because he's just so powerful. So when you first start in the game, you get all of the purple heroes, and I always have to show love to Mason because Mason and Violet are my 2 favorite heroes to start the game because Violet, to this day, in my opinion, is probably still the strongest defender in the game as far as attack wise because that poison, it just does so much damage. It's great against monsters. So, and keep in mind when you first start the game, you're fighting mostly monsters. You're not fighting people. You have to clear the grounds in your HQ, like this thing right here, and she was huge. And same thing with Mason. Like both of them they have great skills when it comes to attacking monsters with the physical damage. So it's just so great to have there. And then you had some other ones that had some great abilities as well. But and of course you had your blue champs. But you I mean this one was okay because he had the little flamethrower, so I liked him okay too as well. Kind of reminded me of this guy from Mortal Kombat, Cabal. If you guys know what I'm talking about, that was actually one of my favorite Mortal Kombat. I think he came into Mortal Kombat franchise, Mortal Kombat 3. So that little fatality with when he takes off the helmet and just screams and ugly face. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, so there's always a nostalgia when it comes to this class, but when it comes to the exclusive weapons, it definitely takes. I say that the exclusive weapon definitely took Marshall and Kimberly to another level. Like Kimberly was already OP, but now when you add the exclusive weapon, it just makes it even more dangerous. And I recently got her exclusive weapon to level 30. You can continue to level these up apparently once you get to level 30 with generic shards, but I'm not in the luxury position to do that because I got other heroes to try to get to 30, which will take a long time to do so. But just to kind of give you a recap on her exclusive on her skills. Well, I guess they're here now. So yeah, so once they get their exclusive weapon, their skills are shown here apparently. So she does a lot of energy attack, and it's and again you got a lot of people that are not energy resistant. So it just these rockets that go off, especially if you get her to 4 stars, when you get those extra set of rockets, it just makes her damage output even more special. So the general rule of thumb, if you're first starting out on the game, because the purple heroes are more prominent, it's better to have them at 3 stars if you're just getting a brand new legendary hero. But as you get more stars on the legendary heroes, especially once they get to 3 stars, it's kind of like the even 2 stars in some cases, like Kimberly. That's when you want to start supplanting them in your starting lineup. And I'll show you the recommended lineup for the tank for free to play and for people that have established accounts. So I'm gonna do both of those again. I try to tailor my content with multiple people. So you have her exclusive weapon that does some just great extra damage, amplification, extra 3% damage. So it just gets ridiculous. And then this one here for Marshall is kind of game changing, especially when you get just all you do is get him a level 10. Get him to level 10, and what it does, he prioritizes one enemy unit that's positioned symmetrically with him. So let's look at this lineup here. So in this lineup, he is in this back right position. So that means he will be facing off someone that's exactly parallel to him on the opposite side. So I guess from their formation perspective, it will be the bottom left position. So, and he'll just focus attack on them, and it's even more damage that's done to them individually. So when you do that, and it'll apply a stack of weak point detection, so it'll increase the chance of being hit by a critical strike. So and yeah, so it just pretty much nukes whoever is across his path. So when you're strategically fighting in an arena, it's good to kind of move him around on the back row. So that way, whoever your opponent's strongest attacker is, have him be lined up against that person. So that way you can take advantage of that matchup, or at least let that person die quick and get rid of the strongest part of the opponent's attack. And vice versa, if you're going against someone that has a Marshall, you don't want to put your strongest attacker facing against Marshall. You want to move it around that way. You want to put your weakest back row attacker against Marshall, because once he kills his focus target, he's not gonna have another focus target like that. He'll just do like normal attacks with the front against the front row units that he does. So, and then but the thing that really separates him against with other heroes in the game is his ability to synergize the team, as I mentioned. Especially, he already increased your unit's attack by a certain percentage, and their crit rate, which we just talked about how that hone in skill does for him. And then after that first shoot, the unit with the highest attack will prioritize Marshall's targets for auto attacks. So that, which in a lot of cases is Kimberly in this case, or if you have him on your aircraft team, DBA or Skylar, and or if you have him with your missile squad, Tesla. So he's just a great all around hero in the game, and it's kind of hard to rank them. You just have to, when you have a tier list, you have your S tier, your A tier, your B tier, your C tier, your F tier. Generally, and or you can go pluses and minus, A plus, A minus. Generally, all legendary heroes are probably going to be A tier anyway, or maybe A minus, or maybe B plus at the worst. But I would definitely put Marshall and Kimberly S tier in this class, and I will also put Williams in the S tier as well as being the best defender in the game, because his abilities here, this skill here, After casting the skill, boost the defense for the front 2 units by 50%. Now keep in mind this varies depending on how high your skill level is for him. But this is at max level, which is 30 levels. It gets to 50%. I don't know where it starts if you're at 0. But then if you get them to 1 star, it's a 10% boost on those effects. If you get them to 3 stars, that effect not only applies to the front 2 unit, it applies to their entire squad. So it's like he gives everyone a massive shield, and it makes your entire team tanky. Makes your back row attackers last longer, so they can get more attacks in. And then, and if you give them the 5 stars, that increase the effect by 10 seconds. So it's just great. And then this right here reduces all damage taken by him individually. So he has this. Oops. Go back. So you got this right here to increase the defense of the front row units already, and then individually he has this to increase even more. Now attack wise, he can't hit. He's a pillow. He punches like a pillow, but you don't get him for attack purposes. He's strictly for defense. He's the ironclad, and that's the key to survival. Is you last longer, so that way you can get more hits in. Now, probably the hero with the highest critical rate in the game, or one of the highest critical rate in the game, is Stedman. And these balls here, to give them the 4 stars, you get 2 extra lightning balls. You already get 3 at the base level if he has 0 stars, and you get 1 extra at 2 stars and 2 extra at 4 stars, and then you increase the damage output with the star levels in between. And then of course this right here increases his critical rate, but it seems like he has already a high base critical rate as it is, and this just kind of increases. I can't wait to see what his exclusive weapon will be. No telling how OP this guy's going to be when he has an exclusive weapon, because eventually all these heroes are going to have exclusive weapons. So the downside of him is that he has a low health pool, so so you definitely don't want to have him on the front line. You don't want to have him across Marshall if you can help it. You want to have him not across Marshall. You want to make sure he gets his attacks in. I would put him in the A+ tier, just because of the lower. He's a little bit more squishy than some of the others. But and then as far as Murphy goes, he takes a little bit of a downturn. Now his exclusive weapon does some good things. It it adds mitigation damage. It lowers the next person's auto attack damage by 50%, which is big. So he has defensive abilities as well. It reduces all damage taken by front row units. So if you put him and what's that guy, Williams, together, it makes your front row very tanky, and it just makes your back row last a lot longer. So it's good to have these guys in tandem. But the only thing about him is that this ability increases physical damage reduction of front row units, and then the damage reduction effect applies to the whole team. The only thing is some of the best attackers in the game deal energy damage. So that's the only thing. Like, let's just go to all the classes real quick. Let's look at DVA, energy damage. Kimberly, energy damage. Now Carly is a tank, is a protector, but Skylar, energy damage. Tesla, energy damage. Morrison is physical, so he's useful against a Morrison, and sometimes you can strategically line him up where if Morrison is on the right side, put him on the right side, make him last longer. So you can still strategically move people around. Looking at the rest of Swift, physical. So again, strategic placement, you can kind of maximize his use with that physical damage reduction ability. And it's good to have him on the team because you have a mixture of people, especially in the missile class, but you have the Morrison in the aircraft. But Stedman, energy damage. So we're talking about and she does physical damage also. So most of the physical damage dealers are missiles anyway. So because tank outpower missiles, it makes Murphy really good against missile based teams. But if he's going against aircraft, I mean, with the exception of Morrison, he's a liability, and he gets nuked up pretty quickly when he goes up against the aircraft. But that's how it's set up to be anyway with that class. But the thing about this guy, it doesn't matter if it's an aircraft, he still is pretty tanky. Okay, so as far as the rest of them, and again, as far as the tier goes, I'll probably put him at A tier, maybe A plus, because he's still one of the top defenders in the game. Okay, you can't go wrong with any one of these. Now, with the legendary added weapons for these, these are very helpful, especially if you're free to play. When you get these people as each passing season goes along, these are definitely great alternatives to have on your team, on your front line, especially if you don't have Williams at 3 stars, because again, he's hard to get more versions of in the game because he doesn't become available in this ticket store for quite some time. But he's in there now. Actually, speaking of which, I got to get a free ticket. Oh, we got 10 more layers of Marshall. Got a little lucky there. Okay, so yeah, so you got to make sure that you use your alternative protectors. She's probably the third best protector in this class behind Marshall and not Marshall, Murphy and Williams, because what she does defensively is she reduces the damage taken by her and one adjacent unit. So, and I believe, yeah, let's see, when multiple adjacent units are present, her skill will prioritize selecting the back row hero that is closest to her. So she actually makes one of your heroes last longer. And sometimes she's good to be placed on the back row, because I've seen some lineups where she's in the back row. And also, this ability increases defense of an adjacent hero. But obviously, you can see the big difference between her and Williams is that Williams have it applied to the whole squad. She just have it applied to one person. So again, so you see the differences there. But again, she's pretty solid to have, and she's not a bad attacker herself. I like the little flame that she has for damage, so she's pretty cool. And then if you have to go rank the best legendary, or not legendary, the best epic attacker besides Mason when you first start, it would have to be Richard. Richard, he does really good damage here with the rockets and additional damage increase, and also boosted attack. And then he's an honorable mention. He kind of has ability similar to Kimberly, where he fires multiple missiles at enemies. And then you have her. She's probably the worst of the bunch. She does give you bonuses when it comes to getting more money, getting more resources when you kill zombies. That's about as good as she good for. Of course, if you can get her to 5 stars, to help even more. But I don't really dedicate any epic shards towards her, so I still got her at 3 stars. So she's still my lowest ranking hero in the game, star wise. So yeah. So again, if I had to put a tier list together, S tier would be Kimberly, Williams, and Marshall. A plus tier, I would go with Stedman. And probably go with Murphy as well. A tier, I would put Scarlet and Mason. A minus, Violet, and then pretty much if you're B plus, I'll probably give it to Richard, and then solid B for Farhad, and C, probably like a C for for her, and of course we're gonna go F with. Well, maybe give a D to Gomp and Loki. All right, so but yeah, so that is the class there. But let's look at the lineup recommendations. So if you are a free-to-play player and chances are you don't have a Statman, because the only way you can still get him at this point in the game is by buying him. I don't think he's in this store. I don't think he's in this ticket group yet. No, says so you still can't get him via ticket. So if you're free to play, chances are you don't have a Statman. But keep in mind, when you have these ghost op events, if you join people's ghost ops that gives out specific champion shards such as Statman, jump on those. So that way, if you get 10 of them, then you can get a Statman for free, and then you can use the generic shards to level him up. But still, it takes a while to get someone to 5 stars. So chances are you don't have a high rank Statman, and you probably don't have a high rank Williams. So if you're free to play, your strongest hero is probably Kimberly. So I would have her in the middle of that back row, the same way I have it now, and then have Marshall right next to her. And then, if depending on how you got it set up, I would probably put Scarlet in the back row next to her, where Statman is right now. And then in Williams' spot, I would put Violet. No, I would put Murphy. And then where Murphy is currently, matter of fact, I'm just give you guys a visual, so I'm not just rattling off names. This would be the recommended setup if I was doing this. All right, if I'm free to play, this setup right here, because you don't have another attacker. Now, if one of these defenders aren't at high star level, then you could probably put her in the front row and then put Richard in the back row. So that way you got 3 solid attackers and you have 2 solid defenders in the front row. So that would be the setup if you're free to play. Now, if you have established account, you have everyone at least at 3 stars, then you want to have it to where I just had it, and you put Williams there and you put Statman there. And the reason why you got Statman, who's the weakest hero, but you got the strongest tank in front of him, so it's not going to be easy to get him down quick. And then Murphy and Marshall, they'll be able to support each other pretty strongly. And then you got Kimberly, you want to protect, because usually you're a middle person in the back row, unless they're lined up against someone else's Marshall in the back row. Usually that person lasts the longest. But some people will probably put their Marshall in the middle just to counteract somebody else, Kimberly in the middle, and kill them quickly. So again, you have to be mindful where this guy's placed, so that way you can counteract that appropriately. So that's the recommended lineup. Let me know what your lineups look like. What are the tier list that do you agree with the tier list for the tank class? Where do you have others ranked? Are there some other honorable mentions that I missed out on? Let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, I'll do this again with the aircraft class, and I'll also do it with the missile class as well. All right, but like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll talk to you later.